Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Politics on the Hindu's YouTube channel. I'm Nistula Heppar, the political editor of The Hindu and your guide to this show, where we try to go behind the headlines of stories making the news in domestic politics. Now, this week, we will be returning to Patna, where we had been a few weeks ago. This is about the second part of the Congress's political flex in Bihar with regard to its ally, the Mahagathbandhan. The Congress held a meeting of its working committee 80 years after the last one in that city, and we look at the implications of this for the Mahagathbandhan. So, what is the story so far? Now, the Congress, as I said last week, held a meeting of its working committee in Patna at its headquarters there after a gap of 85 years. The last CWC was held before independence in 1940. So, therefore, it is not a small issue. It is something that has a lot of political thought behind it. And it acquires importance with regard to the Congress's preparations for the upcoming assembly polls in Bihar. In fact, we are expecting that the polls will be notified very, very soon, early October, in fact. And the CWC meeting follows the vote chori yatra by Congress leader Rahul Gandhi over the special intensive revision of electoral rolls in the state. So, after the meeting, at a presser, the CWC also presented a kind of a manifesto, a 10-point program to woo the extremely backward classes category. The 10-point program was focused on education and employment reservation for EBCs ahead of the Bihar Assembly elections due by November. Now, this is a vote category that has clung to the NDA, especially Janata Dal United leader and Chief Minister of the state, Nitish Kumar, who has carved out these constituencies from the larger backward bloc that had emerged in the post-Mandal era. Now, this is a particularly vulnerable community. They have very little land, very few resources. They're also marginalized in the countryside, not just by the upper caste, but also very dominant intermediate castes who may belong to the OBC category as well. So therefore, they do keep away from the RJD, and the RJD's big push this time has been to reverse the salami slicing that Nitish Kumar has managed to do of the larger backward bloc, taking away the EBCs and Mahadalits and leaving the RJD only with the Muslim Yadav combination, which gives it a dominant position but doesn't push it across the critical mass required to form the government in the state. So therefore, Congress taking a step to woo this bloc is very, very significant, not just in terms of the politics of the NDA or Nitish Kumar, but also a signal to its own ally, not to underestimate it, and saying that, probably they are better placed to take this step. Now, what does this 10-point program have to offer to EBCs? If voted to power, the Congress has promised an extremely backward classes Atrocities Prevention Act. This would be on the lines of similar laws with regard to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Also, it promised reservation in all private educational institutions of the state under Article 15(5). This constitutional provision allows governments to make special provisions for advancement of socially and educationally backward classes of citizens, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes concerning their admissions to educational institutions. Reservations for EBCs will be increased to 30% from the current 20% in panchayat and urban local bodies, and added together, it will also surpass the 50% ceiling on reservations currently deployed. The Congress said that the concept of not found suitable or NFS in the selection process for appointments will be declared illegal. There have been allegations by scheduled castes and other backward groups that posts kept for them are not filled by just saying that none of the candidates were suitable. So therefore, that entire excuse of not hiring backward communities for posts reserved for them will be removed. Further, all matters related to under or over inclusion on the list of EBCs will be resolved by forming a committee. So this was another one of the promises. In government contracts worth up to 25 crores, a provision of 50% reservations will be made for these communities. This is similar to the minority reservation that was announced in government contracts in Karnataka. Now, to govern the implementation of all these promises, a high-powered reservation regulatory authority will be established, and that any changes to the reservation list of castes will only be possible with the permission of the legislature. Now, very significantly, the Congress being queried on who would be the chief ministerial candidate of the Mahagathbandhan of the RJD, Congress, CPIML, the VIP party, that is the Vikassheel Insan Party, and the breakaway Lok Janshakti Party headed by Union Minister Chirag Paswan's uncle Pashupati Paras. The Congress said that the alliance partners are yet to decide on the matters, and they will be the one deciding it. Even more significantly is the fact that right after Rahul Gandhi wound up his vote chori yatra held jointly with the RJD, Tejashwi Yadav embarked on a yatra of his own sans the Congress and other allies. So all of this significantly, and all sorts of things and caveats that I have put added to the CWC meeting of the Congress in Patna. Now, what does this all mean? Now, put very simply, the Congress is attempting to do what Gen Z calls a flex, of trying to demonstrate some strength in a field where they are not the dominant party. Looking at the political history of Bihar, something that the viewers can access via the Hindu's ebook on Bihar politics, available for free for subscribers and for a small fee for those who are not. The Congress had been the dominant party in the state from independence till the late 1980s, early 1990s. Now, with the 1970s being one of tight contest between it and the socialist parties. In a piece that I had written on the rise of the Jansangh and the BJP in Bihar, I had pinned the 1967 famine in Bihar as one of the entry points for non-Congress parties into the political fray in the state, where questions were raised on the Congress's governance model, and socialist parties, the RSS and the Jansangh, along with them, had entered that arena and in fact tried to consolidate as an anti-Congress bloc. Now, this evolved into the JP movement, and later, after the decision to implement the Mandal Commission recommendations and the rise of the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, the ascendancy of the Mandal parties like the Janata Dal, led by Lalu Prasad Yadav, and the BJP. Now, caste votes were not that easily surrendered, of course. This was a long arc for the Congress of losing one support base after another. OBCs and minorities drifted to the Janata Dal, which was later the RJD, due to, of course, the Mandal Commission report recommendations and Lalu Prasad Yadav's arrest of BJP leader LK Advani during the Ram Temple Rath Yatra in 1990. Upper castes who were feeling anxious due to the RJD's rise and the rise of Mandal politics and attracted by the Ram Janmabhoomi movement were drifting to the BJP. But some of them still held a torch for the Congress. That ended in 1990, when the Congress supported the RJD government, now headed by Rabri Devi, after charges were framed against Lalu Prasad Yadav in the fodder scam case. BJP leaders insist that this was the inflection point for them. In the 2000 election, Congress forged a post-poll alliance with the RJD, and all 23 of its MLAs were made ministers, and since then it has been playing the little brother role to the RJD in that state. Now, since then, the Congress has always had sections in the party that wanted to conserve and win back its support base, while others feel that the electoral victory without an alliance was impossible in the face of the NDA combination of BJP and JDU. Whatever the case, the Congress always, come polls, tries to get a good deal for itself in terms of tickets, which is, of course, extremely organic and natural thing to do. In the 2020 elections, it managed to get 70 assembly tickets, but managed to win only 19 seats. Very, very bad sort of a target record. a very, very bad conversion, in fact, of assembly tickets to seats. In a poll where the difference between the two alliances was only 12,000 votes, the RJD felt let down by its ally and is apparently unwilling to give out quite that many seats this time around. The Congress, after what it considers a decent turnout at its Vote Chori Yatra and its EBC manifesto, feels that it's a new day, a new election, and conversations on seats should reflect the new strategy adopted by the Congress to give itself a fillip. The Congress's flex last week, therefore, is a pre-negotiation performance. Will it have an effect on its ally, the RJD, which is also trying to wean away other backward castes and lessen the anxieties of the EBCs vis-a-vis itself and its previous record? As of now, both sides are holding firmly to their point of views, or POVs is another Gen Z terminology. We will return to Bihar several times in the next couple of months to track this and other stories. Till then, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next week.